we're broke, and we want to go fast. Who can save us? That's right, me, Brad Danger, here to deliver unto you the gospel of cheap speed. Fast cars, 2 doors, big power, all for under $5,000 dues. And the last one on this list is a scorcher. What's better than that? Joining the Ideal Media Membership Club. Just click the button below to unlock all the benefits. We have a huge list for you. So let's not waste any time. Let's go. Now guys, if you're like me, you do a lot of online shopping. And one of the things I love is a good deal. And at the end of the shopping process, I used to look on the internet for the coupons that actually worked. And it was a lot of work. But let me let you in on a little secret. I've been using Honey for the last couple of years. And Honey's the free online shopping tool that applies the coupons automatically before you check out. Just last week, the battery went dead on the 911, and so I bought a new one on advancedautoparts.com. Well, without Honey, I wouldn't have saved a bunch of money. Let me show you how. See guys, here I am checking out and the battery's $199. And up here in the top right-hand corner, if I just apply the coupons, in just a few seconds, wha-bam! Just like that, I saved $55 by just clicking the Honey button once. Now guys, the best part is Honey works on thousands of different websites. And just last week, I saved on this GoPro Hero 8 on Amazon, this little micro drone I bought on eBay, and YouTube Girlfriend saved 25% when she used FedEx to ship some pictures to some friends. So yeah, you can tell that YouTube Girlfriend and I love saving money, and the easiest way for us to do that is using Honey. Not only does it have over 100,000 5+ star reviews on the Google Chrome store, one of those being mine, but it's also supported on over 30,000 online stores. Yeah, it's pretty much everywhere. And if you're not using it yet, you are literally passing up free money. Plus, it's literally the easiest thing I've ever installed. It takes 2 clicks. All you gotta do is go to joinhoney.com/idealmedia, click add to Chrome, it's free, and then add to Chrome. And just like that, you are now ready to save with Honey. So guys, if you're ready to start saving, click on the first link in the description or just go to a browser and type in joinhoney.com/idealmedia. Thanks again to Honey for sponsoring today's video. Starting this list off right, baby. A proper rear-wheel drive, manual transmission, 2-door sports car. The Fairlady Z has been a name synonymous with sports cars since the 70s. And Nissan made massive waves in 2003 when they delivered the 350Z. You see, this was the first new Z car Nissan released since the 90s. And some would say that the wait was definitely worth it, because the latest generation Fairlady was everything that made us fall in love with the previous generations. It packed a powerful 6-banger under the hood, cranking out over 285 horsepower to the rear wheels, and then the refresh of the Z in 2007 gave it a good bump in power up to 305 horsepower. And it also revised some of the transmission issues in the earlier models. So if you can, try to snag an 07 or later model. But even then, the early gen is a great car for not a lot of cash. Why are they cheap? Because there were tens of thousands of 350Zs made. So that means that there are plenty of cars to choose from. Just try to find one that hasn't been too abused.
What the? Oh, bro.
Yeah, that's not gonna pass the sniff test. Now, the 350Z was a mega popular tuner car when it launched, and is still thriving today. So there are thousands of upgrades available, and you can find 350Zs in tons of racing disciplines, such as drifting, tracking, time attack, hell, even rallying. So no matter what you want to do, you can't go wrong with the 350Z. You could be the proud owner of this drop top Z with a manual transmission and under 100,000 miles for $5 grand. That is a fair price for a Fairlady if you ask me. Now, the 350Z is one hell of a sports car, especially for the price. But one of the greatest sports cars ever, price be damned, has got to be the BMW M3. And one of my favorite generations of the M3 is now ridiculously cheap. That's right, the E36 M3 is now affordable. This Gen M3 is considered one of the greatest sports cars of all time, and for good reason. Like that engine. There's almost no other engine that sounds as good as the S50, S52 with an air intake. Just a sonorous sound that'll take your breath away. And with as popular as the M3 is, there is a huge aftermarket. It's pretty much like the European Mustang. They're pretty much everywhere. And since it's such a tried and true platform, there are thousands of aftermarket parts. Don't like the S50 or S52? People will swap in S54s from the E36 M3 or even LS motors for some really insane power. Whatever you choose, the E36 M3 is the budget BMW banger for you. Values of the E36 M3s have pretty much bottomed out. Getting one of these for under 5K is gonna be a chore, yet it can be done. We were able to find this white M3 with 160,000 miles on it for $4,300. That is straight up Bavarian motoring at its finest. Now, no list of sports cars is complete without the Miata, which if you want to snag our brand new hot off the press Miata is always the answer shirt, click up here. This shirt is also up there for a limited time, and they're both incredible shirts that are guaranteed to get you a few too many compliments.
Your shirt makes the color in your hair look like a horse.
Kind of like the Miata, seriously. They are the most fun car that you can have at any price point, period. And anyone that laughs them off as a Barbie car or the ride of choice for hairdressers hasn't driven them to their absolute limit.
I cannot believe I just did that.
That's what makes them always the answer. That is what Miata is all about. And for under 5,000 stacks, you can drive a wide variety of Miatas from 3 different generations. But we think that you should go with the NC or NBs. That's right, the NC is starting to hit below 5K. But even then, many more people prefer the simpler, the lower, the lighter NB. Either way, you're gonna love it, but which one would you choose? Because with either, drop the top, grab the wheel, find a mountain road, and slam through the gears. What's the old adage? It's better to drive a slow car fast than a fast car slow. Whoever said that owned a Miata. Whether you're buying it to take it to a track day, build it into a drift missile, wow, that looks fun, or just daily drive the thing. The Miata is a shoe that always fits. When new, it was one of the lowest priced convertibles out there, and that still holds true on the used market today. So, use the ideal car strategies to go grab yourself a cheap Miata and get the best price. Get the NB for the smooth curves and the more analog driving experience, while you can grab the NC for a little bit more power, more features, and a little bit more modern driving experience. Or hell, just get yourself an NA for dirt cheap and start modding the shit out of it with all the money that you saved. And for those of you who are too manly to be seen driving with the top down in a tiny Miata, well, I don't want to talk about your other issues. But the S197 Ford Mustang GT is a real manly sports car for under 5K. This is the only car on the list that sports a rompin' stompin' V8. And it was the first modern Mustang GT to come stock with 300 horsepower. So it's safe to say that this thing is ready to get its tires spinning at a moment's notice, making it one of the ideal choices on this list for a budget drift build. I mean, it was the first car to beat Japan in D1 GP. The S197 GTs are proper modern sports cars, featuring upgraded suspension, bigger brakes, proper ABS, and styling that still looks pretty decent today. Over 10 million Mustangs have been made so far, so availability is definitely not a problem. Unless you live in Europe. Sorry lads. Here's a shiny blue Stang we found for $4,700, a pony car that you can be proud to have in your stable. The Mustang is an obvious choice for a cheap sports car. What's not so obvious? A Korean luxury coupe. That's right, the Hyundai Genesis Coupe is one of the most overlooked sports cars of the modern era. And that straight up doesn't make any sense. It's rear-wheel drive, it's manual, it's 2 doors, and has plenty of power. Plus, it has 2 different engines. One is the turbo 2-liter that has about 275 horsepower, but it's capable of holding a lot more boost than stock. And the other option is the naturally aspirated 3.8-liter V6, putting out over 350 horsepower. That's way more power than the Mustang, and That one was a V8. Underappreciated in its day, the Genesis Coupe is starting to become a popular choice for a budget sports car. And I think that you're starting to see why. With power figures like that, it's hard not to get excited. It was initially built to compete with the Infiniti G37 and similar cars. And it showed the world that Hyundai could make a solid sports car too. In fact, during its worldwide unveiling in 2008, the first thing Hyundai did with the car was power slides and burnouts until the tires almost popped. That's one way to prove your product. Kudos to Hyundai. And remember, it rhymes with Sunday. Here's an example of the 2-liter model for just under $5K. It's one hell of a performance bargain, that's for sure. But all of these cars lack a little space for junk in the trunk, if you know what I mean. The Golf GTI is a staple of cheap, fun, and fast cars. And its history explains exactly why. The Mark I Golf GTI is credited with starting the entire hot hatchback genre. Meanwhile, the latest Mark VII version has taken the name into uncharted sports car slaying territory. But arguably, the finest GTI of them all is the one you see here, the Mark V. Sporting 200 horsepower, it's definitely a quick car. But I get it, many of you wouldn't get very excited by that number. However, numbers are not the point of the GTI. That's because every part of the GTI plays perfectly with each other. Each control, throttle, brake, gearbox, steering works together so well. It's almost an extension of your arms and legs. There's an underrated and deeply satisfying feeling from this car, one that not many new cars can match. The GTI is a great car for cruising because it can comfortably fit 5 people. And it's also a great track car. In fact, it's often called the European Civic because of how well it handles for a front-wheel drive car. Here's a great example for under 5K with some money left over for some shenanigans. And for something completely different, the SW30 MR2 is the lesser-known twin of the NB Miata. Just like the NB, it's a super lightweight, bare-bones roadster ready for some action. However, it is mid-engine opposed to the Miata's front engine. That's right, it's both lighter and has a lower center of gravity than the world's most favorite sports car. In fact, Tiff Needle from 5th Gear said that the SW30 had perfect handling. And the best part is that this gen is way less likely to kill you than the previous 2 generations of the MR2. Hashtag snap oversteer, it's a real thing, it's scary. It's definitely tempting. A great handling, good looking, sparkling sports car that possesses both contemporary Japanese reliability standards and perfect weight distribution. What's not to love? All right, I can already hear your thoughts, guys. Yes, the MR2 is not the prettiest car to look at and doesn't have much space for luggage. Actually, it just doesn't even have a trunk. Anyways, for the money though, this is probably the best handling sports car you can buy. Also, just like the Miata, the SW30 MR2s are convertibles so you can enjoy some good weather with the top down. Here's an example for far less than 5K. And you know what I would do with that extra money you just saved? Well, I would get some sticky tires and hit the canyons. Now, I've been saving one of the best cars for right now. The Chevy Cobalt SS is one of the last cars I would think of when I think of cheap sports cars. But hear me out. It's literally one of the most overlooked sports cars in the USA. The Cobalt SS is the supercharged version of the regular Chevy Cobalt. And pop the hood, and the SS is equipped with an Eaton M62 Roots type supercharger, providing 12.5 PSI through a water-air intercooler. The power is sent to just its front wheels, where a limited slip differential was optional, but definitely recommended. That option was called the G85, and keep an eye out for that one. Especially since if you got the G85 package, you also got some Recaro buckets. And don't worry, most people that got the SS opted for the G85 package anyway. So there's a lot of them out there. The car came with 18-inch wheels, new rockers, a boost gauge mounted on the A-pillar, and General Motors' finest FE5 sport suspension. Now, this sounds like a more serious car than you thought. Altogether, in top trim, the SS is a 260 horsepower tarmac-eating machine. It was one of the best performing front-wheel drive cars of its time, and it was even faster around the Nürburgring than the R34 GTR. Unfortunately, like most good things, the supercharged SS came to a halt in 2007. Now, finding one for under 5K is difficult, but not impossible. In a quick search, we found this blue SS supercharged for a little over 5K. And of course, if you use the Ideal Car strategies, you could probably probably get it for under 5. And it's definitely worth it because the SS Supercharged is one mean cheap machine. Okay, I'm ready for all the comments on this car or that car. And if you make enough good suggestions, maybe we'll make another video. And after you've done that, hit that like button and also subscribe if you're new here. Oh, and check out some more Ideal content. And as always, keep living that ideal lifestyle.